Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Q&A with Whitey, but not quite with Whitey. We've sent him away again. He's actually gone a little MIA on us, and we kind of sent him down to the nether regions of Canberra for the past 2 days. For those of you that are obviously aware of Canberra and all fun things that happen down there, he has been down with our Federal Treasurer and the Prime Minister. And if you are on LinkedIn, you can see some photos of what Whitey got up to last night down at Parliament House having dinner with the PM and his colleagues. So looked like a good night, but it also looked like a very cold night down in Canberra. And as they say, while the cat's away, the mice will play. So sitting today in Pete's office, little does Pete know that I'm actually currently sitting in his office. A bit of work going on behind us. So our corporate park is getting renovated. As Pete normally says though, make sure in hand you have a coffee, and we have a great coffee shop in our corporate park. And also have a little treat to eat. Now, because Pete's away, and I know that you'll all keep my secret, we've got muffins and cupcakes. Clearly, I don't have Pete's wife, Janet, to cook for me. So we did visit one of the local bakeries around here as well this morning. A bit of a favourite. For those that want to send me anything, I am a blueberry muffin fan, but we do have a red velvet cupcake sitting there as well. So I hope you have your coffee in hand. Today is going to be an absolute cracker, guys. We are going to kick it off pretty much straight away. We don't have a lot to be in up on the up front of life. I'm shortly going to be joined by Kerry. Now, Kerry's passions for where we sit in the industry and what we're going to have a chat about today is finance, property and travel. As an experienced broker since establishing the MTA over 20 years ago, Kerry's turned his passions, commitment, care and drive into a thriving business, helping people in property development and investment portfolios, SMSF investing, something that I'm very curious about at the moment, commercial and private funding. He's the voice of the customer at MTA, a champion for financial freedom and lifestyle choice, and the reason MTA has managed to win numerous industry awards. So Kerry, I know you're sitting behind the scenes at the moment. I will get you to turn your camera on so we can all see your smiling face this morning, and get you to join me in a bit of a chat. How's it going?
Hey Leah, good morning. Good morning from the Qantas Business Lounge in Sydney Airport. Hopefully we won't
Fantastic.
have
You've always got to love a business lounge. And I was going to say, mate, it's at that time of day too that the bar's not even open there. So we've got you drinking coffee, I hope.
I've got my little coffee. We're all ready to go.
Fantastic. We all followed this morning's prerequisites on this one. So, Kerry, obviously knowing that you've got Qantas Club and will travel, so obviously in our industry, we do tend to travel a lot. I'm assuming that you are out and about on business at the moment, sitting at Qantas Club, and you've been interstate, visiting the many clients that you have and helping businesses obviously understand their value proposition as well.
Yes, well, actually, I will say we were up for some awards last night, which was amazing. We didn't win, but I reckon we missed by that much. But we're still a finalist, so we're pretty happy about that.
I think it's stoked for anyone to make a finalist, and mate, I know that you will be nominating this year in the FBAA awards as well. So my fingers and toes are crossed for you in that. They're shortly to be announced as well. So. Look, I think we should just get things cracking today, mate. And the conversation, as we said to you earlier, and obviously for the people and the folks that are playing this game from home today, you chat around customer service and how that has built your business to where you're at today. And the things that you've done as an experienced mortgage broker to really develop and grow your business, coming through several things over the lifespan that you've been in the industry. So you've faced the likes of the NCCP coming in, you've gone through a GFC, you've now gone through COVID. All of these things have hit your business along the way. We're talking about around about a 20-year lifespan. So let's take it back to the beginning and nut this down to how long you've actually now been in the mortgage industry and how long you've been a mortgage broker for.
Hey, that's right. I started back in 2002, so clocked up 20 years this year. It only feels like yesterday, to be honest. And you're right. We've gone. I started way back when we had fax machines. So some of you today might even know what a fax machine is. But, you know, we started on fax machines. We had to fax the applications, you know, 300 pages long, and you miss a tax file number and the bank would shred your application and you'd start all over again. We had paper application forms. We used to, you know, I used to have a folder, and I'd carry out a folder with all of the bank applications A through to Z. We'd probably get 5, you know, signatures on 5 different applications. So if the first one was declined, we already had another signature, you know, ready to go. So that was the start of my career. That's how it worked then, and obviously it's changed a lot. I went from a 1-day training course to get my accreditation to become a mortgage broker. So you can tell we've come a long way.
Hearing it was a 1-day course, so it's sort of, I think, one of those things you sit back and go, oh, we asked you to be a brain surgeon in a day back then. But look, I started at a similar time than you. I think my career now goes back somewhat 24 years, when we used to use pigeons to deliver most of the contracts that we needed. But I do remember the fax machines that you're talking about, which had the little roller paper sitting in them that you had to tear off. And look, I do class those as the good old days, but I don't miss having a black text or having to take the tax file number off everything. But my day started back in AVCO. So for those of us old enough on this call to remember AVCO Financial Services and Household Financial Services, I was one of those people. And look, it was a good upbringing. I think that when we started back, as we said, we had to take different levels of applications out and sending those through and developing businesses to where they're at. When we look back on those 20 years though, were there any challenges or barriers back then that you needed to deal with, that you had to use or had to overcome to help get your business started?
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. If I take you back, say 25, let me say 25 years. Actually, I'll take you back further than that. My first job was, I joined the police force. So I was a police officer for 9 years. And the reason I did that was because the pay was really good. I didn't want to be a policeman, but it was a good paycheck, right? So I was a police officer for 9 years, and you know, believe it or not, you're taught psychology. So you're taught how to become empathetic with people. You're taught how to analyze people. You're taught how to listen. You're taught how to talk to people on different levels. So if you put wrap all of those things up together, they fit perfectly for a really good mortgage broker, because you need to be empathetic. You need to listen. That's a really big one. You need to be able to talk to people on their level. So that might be, you know, someone on a lower socioeconomic level to some big, you know, high-flying CEO who might scare the hell out of you. So you need to be able to psychologically know how you can deal with, you know, not this person and that person. And I must say, I'm pretty proud of the fact that the police force really taught me the skills to be able to do that. So I now utilize that skill and knowledge with my team, and I really push the boundaries and ask them a lot of questions and how they'll deal with this, how will they deal with that, you know, etc. Then I moved on from the police force and I joined Qantas, actually, would you believe it or not. I joined Qantas as a flight attendant. So again, what an industry and what a company to learn skills, you know, the best training you could ever get. Everything had a system. So, you know, what you see in the air, that it's not, they don't just make it up on the day. There's actually a system for everything. So, and again, I utilized that training for mortgage broking. And then I realized that I had a passion for customer service, and I was sick of not getting weekends off. So I worked my ass off. I actually worked 2 jobs. I worked mortgage broking Monday to Friday during the day, and I worked Qantas Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday night. So all day Saturday, all day Sunday. 2 jobs for 2 years until I earned enough money that I could leave Qantas. So that's how it started off.
So a question for you based on the Qantas side, because I'm a huge fan of always looking at employing people that have come from a customer service background, and a part of that is, you know, generally now if the generations have worked at McDonald's and KFC and things like that, they've taken care of the customer service training side of what we do. How important do you think in your, we won't just say career, but we'll say life, has that customer service training been?
Oh, it's been instrumental for me and my business and my team, because I think I mean, people, my team actually say, oh my God, you relate so easily and so well to people. How do you do it? And I'm like, well, I learned it. Yeah, maybe a little bit of it comes from just being a natural, happy, effervescent type person. But I've also learned a lot of that, and it's life learning, it's life skills. Nothing can beat that. You know, all the other things in the world, all the knowledge is fantastic, but if you don't have the right customer interaction skills, you're just only halfway there. You know, as Todd Duncan says, who will come on a little bit later, you know, it's there's only, this is about the amount of work that should be going into the transaction and structure and strategy, but it's this much about building the relationship with the clients, and that's what I'm really good at, and that's what I'm building with my team.
And I think that it's something very important there about it being a relationship driven industry, and I think that stems from the business relationship managers that we deal with, or the BDMs that we deal with, the relationship managers that we deal with, the state managers that we deal with. Our entire industry is effectively built on relationships, and the relationships we either have interconnecting in the industry and or what you have with your clients.
Absolutely, yeah, and you're right. Relationships with our banks and our peers is instrumental. I actually, funny that I probably take it for granted, but again, my team, they're floored by the amount of people that I know, and the right person that I need to call if I need help, or if we need help. That just doesn't come overnight. It does take time, and you've got to work those relationships. They don't just come.
I think that's years and years of knowledge. I know we have another broker that every few months does a business barbecue at their premises, but only invites the BDMs in, and he does a lunchtime barbecue for the BDMs in specific, and it's a chance for him to get them to know a lot of us as well on a personal level as well as a business level. So in saying that though, what changes do you believe you've seen in the industry over the last 20 years that may have shaped or changed the way that you're doing business?
Look, technology, definitely. If I can start with the technology that I think we've all become accustomed to over the last couple of years, being Zoom and Teams and platforms like that. We've gone from a business where every client came into the office for a strategy session. They came in often to sign their loan application. They came in to sign their loan documents. Nearly all of that is done online now. So is it less personal? Maybe to a point, but again, I think what we've learned is to still create that relationship and that relationship building, even with new clients. I'll admit, when I first started doing the old, what do we call it, the old platform that used to be around, the video one, I can't remember what it's called.
Skype.
But Skype. Yeah, I froze on Skype. I felt it so unpersonal, but it's all about, we all had to adapt. So I think everybody's comfortable with it. So look, you're never going to take away the personal catch-ups and interaction, but so I'm going to say that technology has really transformed our business from a time point of view as well, and also digital application signing, digital loan doc signing. That's a game changer. And again, what it's doing is it's allowing us to help more people. It's allowing us to become more time savvy. It's allowing me to be able to grow the business. and it's to spend time on the business and find more business and better way to implement new things for our customers. It's allowed me to go on social media and spread the message about how wonderful this industry is and what we can do. So that's probably my biggie. Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to tap that a bit further. You mentioned that you've looked at a lot of digital systems for within your business, and it's something that I'm doing a lot of research myself around at the moment of how different digital systems can affect different businesses. Can you delve down a little bit deeper for the people watching at the moment on how you went about picking the right platforms for your business, and what steps did you take to know that you were getting the right integration? Was it something that you worked with your aggregator with? Was it something that you just pulled your business apart and wrote down everything you had a wish list for in a digital system? How do you go about finding the right systems for your business?
Oh, look, that's a good question, and I think yes, we did take a little time, and we looked at different types of systems that can be utilised out there. I wish that they could all integrate. I think, and we're working towards that, with our aggregator. We've had a couple of, sessions where we've sat down with them, and I think, as a mortgage broker, how we operate to maybe how other mortgage brokers operate within the same aggregation group is something that they're aware of. And so, to build something that's going to be right for us may not be right for another mortgage broking company. So we're really keen to work with them in trying to find, I suppose, a middle sort of ground as to what we can all work to use that's going to be best for all of us. But outside of that, we make sure that we have access to digital credit checks before we work with a client. We've got access to electronic digital fact finds. Everything that we do now is digital. There is no paper. And I'll be honest with you, that was a really big step for me to let go of having paper files. I used to have paper stacked up to here, and I feel a different person for that. I really do. I feel like it's huge weight off my shoulder, but it's all electronically stored, all safe, all locked away, so it's all good. But yeah, I think those types of things are instrumental, and I think just also having a good CRM system where every call's documented, every note's documented. We thanks to Todd Duncan's team, we've integrated a couple of platforms from America that we use, which means that we can communicate via video to our clients. Some awesome stuff, really awesome stuff.
So just on that one as well then, without putting an exact dollar on it, I mean, we're not going to tap that far down into your business today, would you say it is a large financial investment that you have in digital technology, or is it something that is cost effective that you're recouping on within your own business?
Oh, look, it's everything, there's a cost for everything, but I think ongoing, once you've set these systems up, they're actually not that expensive on an ongoing basis. And at the end of the day, we all know this, but if you want to become better, if you want to become more profitable, you've actually got to spend money on your business. I'll tell brokers now that if you're not prepared to spend money on your business, it's unlikely that you're going to grow.
So it's the old saying, you've got to spend money to make money.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not that we're an industry that just cares about making money. Let me throw that one out there now. But at the end of the day, it's the bread and butter, and it's what keeps us alive and keeps our families accustomed to the lifestyles that they're in. Would you say that time-wise in your business, since you've invested in a lot of digital technology and a lot of using what is available now at your fingertips, would you say that has saved you time within your business?
Oh, absolutely, totally. Hours upon hours upon hours, yeah.
And it's given you a work-life quality back?
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's the hard part.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I will say nothing still replaces the human element. Let's be clear about that. And I think we still need some data entry done. I mean, we don't I suppose hold back on making sure that we've got the right amount of human interaction in our business as well. So you can have all the systems in the world, but to have a really good business, you still need to have the right amount of human operation within your business, whether that's here in Australia or it might be some outsourcing overseas. A successful business, people want to speak to people. I can't stress enough, no one wants to be pressing 1 for this and 3 for that. They want to speak to a human, and that's I make sure that my business, that would never happen. No one's going to be pushing a number to speak to someone. They're going to get someone answering the telephone, and we're very big on that. That's huge.
So you just touched on outsourcing, and that is outsourcing and having a VA something that is within your business at the moment? Is it something that you've looked at?
We currently don't. I will say through our aggregator that they have a very strong presence over in Manila. We've made the decision that, and look, I think we look at it 2 ways. Number one, it's giving someone an opportunity of employment in the Philippines. Number 2, they're really hardworking. I've met a lot of them, and they're very hardworking people. They're very loyal. So we think we're going to strike a balance where for every 1 person that we may have in the Philippines, that will be equaled by another person, in our office in Melbourne. We believe in, and also we make sure that we've now got a system where we've got a large screen already set up in the main part of our office, which will be set up to basically a live Zoom, which will go all day, and that person who is in Manila will be able to ask us questions live. So we want to make sure that that person feels like they're part of the team, that they're not just shut off in a little office, because we're very big on that. Very big on that.
So is it a really strong team culture that you've embedded into your business? I'd say we'd have, for a small business with only 4 of us at the moment, which will grow, probably by another 2 people by the end of this year. We have the strongest culture that I think I've seen. I come from an Eastern European background. We have a Greek lady, age 71. We have a 32-year-old Indian guy who I sponsored. He's now a permanent resident and about to get his citizenship. And we've got a young 26-year-old guy who comes from Ukraine. Huge culture, lots of laughs, lots of fun, but everybody has each other's back. Everybody wants to come to work. It's awesome. We're so happy. So I take it back to when you first started, because obviously you didn't start with a team. Can you just go through with me what your focus, how your energy levels were when you first started out, and what was driving you to get to that next level?
Look, when I started, I'm going to say I worked day and night. I then had a full-time loan processor, and that's how it stayed for many years. It wasn't until about 6 years ago, and I'll go back, but and we'll probably talk about this a little bit in a while when Todd hops on and joins us, but I burnt myself out. I burnt myself out to a stage that you would not believe. But it was around about that time that I then I found what I did was I was choosing the wrong people. So I was turning over loan processor after loan processor after loan processor. And then I was like, something's not working here. So what we did was it's a bit of a long story, but had a loan processor. They all wanted more money. They all see what commissions you're earning, and so they all want more money. And so we had this lady, and she was a temp, and then I found V, the Indian guy, and the thing I loved about him was he said, I will work with you for 2 years as a loan processor. I'll work my ass off. You can trust me. I'm reliable. I'm hardworking. He said, but I want to learn everything I can from you, and I want to be a broker in your business in 2 years. And I was like, my God, I love the fact you're so honest. So two years later, he's a broker, and we then employed another person, and then we've got another person. So we actually got sort of 2 loan processes, and one of them, the 26-year-old, he's the guy from Ukraine. He's now training up to become a broker. So that's sort of our new process. But going back, as I said, I burnt out. The industry just burnt me out, and I had a few life lessons, as Todd will know, over the last probably 4 to 5 years. But I'm not gonna. How can I say it? I would never want to not have gone through it, because I feel like I'm a better person for it today. And I've come out the other side.
We've just given away a very large part. We've turned his camera on a little bit early. But I'm going to say good morning, Todd, but is it really morning over in the States at the moment? It's got some audio issues happening over there, Todd.
There we go. How's that?
Oh, there he is. There you go.
Good morning, sir.
Happy birthday, Kerry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
It's 7:05 in California, PM.
Well, at least we haven't got you in the middle of the night.
Do you want me to cut? Are you good with me joining now, or do you want me to come back in a little bit?
I think we are absolutely ecstatic to have you joining us today. I think quite a few people that are online with us may have thought that we would have a video recording of Todd Duncan, but guys, we are bringing him. This is absolutely live with Todd over in the States. As he said, he's in California at the moment, and we are so pleased that you could join us today.
It's an honor to be here. I love the broker business in Australia. I love the people in Australia, and I cannot wait to get back there.
We can't wait to have you back over here too.
Yeah.
So we were just having a chat, Todd, around Kerry's business, and I know that you've been a large part of where Kerry's kind of been heading with his, and I shouldn't say kind of, but where Kerry's been heading with his business. You've been a large part of that. And what I'll get you both to do for me, and you can share the stage together. Kerry, first and foremost, the question to you is, you've obviously looked for coaches that can enhance your business. Why Todd? Be careful how you answer this, because he's on the call with us.
I know, exactly, yeah. God, well, my story that I actually have a story now that I present on, and the part of the story was I was sitting at my desk, and I got a ping of an email that the advisor was bringing out this guy called Todd Duncan, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? So I click on his website and I start reading, about Todd, and I'm like, I need to meet this guy. Like, something is resonating with him. I've got no idea why. And I'm like, so I was in a really bad way. I was in a really bad way. I forced myself to get out of bed the morning of the event that he was speaking at. And I don't know how I did it, but I got there. And I met Todd, chatted with him and his wife for about an hour. And within a couple of months, I was on an airplane to LA to do a 4-day workshop. And I knew that he was the man that was going to get me out of what I was in and back to who I am now. So I'm back. Yeah.
In a big way. Yeah, if I could just comment, I think that, oftentimes life presents moments to us, and Deb and I travel the world. We speak everywhere. We have, I think, close to 5 million clients around the globe, and you just never know when you land in a city. You know where your heart is. You know what you want to do for the people that are going to spend time, energy, and money there. But you never know to what extent an opportunity might present itself. And it was very interesting, because after I spoke in Melbourne for the Better Business Summit, an individual introduced me actually to Kerry, and I could tell that Kerry was hurting really bad, and just physical, mental, and so he asked to spend some time with us, and we peeled away to a small room. And like Kerry said, we spent an hour together discovering where, at least initially, where Kerry's pain was and why he had it, and the fact that he was he was a hot minute from just burning out completely. And that's always an indication to us that, you know, we need to do something that's really deep, really powerful, and really give people hope in that moment. And so after that hour, Kerry and I started staying in touch. And then when he came over to the States, you know, he came through our 4-day, 350-page broker business manual, which is how to run the business and life of your dreams. And at the end of the day, he started to see that there was a better way. And the better way was not working so hard. The better way was not participating in things that kind of set him back both mentally and emotionally. And you know, I think everybody kind of has their vices, and those things tend to hold us back from our potential. And I don't think Kerry's belief when we first met is anywhere close. It's a half a world away from where he is right now. His belief then was a belief around limits. And, you know, to say to everybody, the absence of belief is the creation of limits. And all of our limits begin when our belief ends. And Kerry is very close to losing his belief that there was even this thing called life. At the end of these 4 days, which is an absolute exhaustive process, it's 10 hours a day in the workshop room. There's a couple hundred people. There's role playing. There's homework every night, 2 to 3 hours. And the first night, I believe, is where Kerry started to get transformed, because we talked about life planning, and we talked about really understanding your purpose in life, and why you were here in the first place, and to really begin to value yourself and to value the impact that you can have on, you know, consumers everywhere. I mean, let's face it, the greatest joy in a consumer's life is to be able to invest in and buy real estate, and that's mostly how people around the world make their money and create their wealth. Kerry started to see that there was a new way, and you didn't have to work so hard. And we tell people to not worry about working more hours necessarily. We talk to them about making sure every hour becomes more productive so that you can have more time off the job to just be in shape. I mean, Kerry is probably very close, if not there, best physical shape he's been in since at least I've known him. And his spirit is like off the grid, and people are attracted to him because he's got this vibe now that he just didn't have. It was a candle that was almost out, and now it is a flame that could light a lighthouse. And it's just dramatic. And he gets all the credit. He trusted it. He followed it. He understood that this was the difference between a life well lived and a life not lived. And I mean that almost in some cases literally. And, you know, he got in shape, he got in mental shape, he got in emotional shape, he got in financial shape, and he's a rock star, and he gets 100% of the credit. We are just guides, you know, myself and a guy named Jonathan Roach, who's a health expert. He's a good friend of mine. We're just guides. Kerry had to do the work. Everybody has to do their own work. And we can just start to set up the guardrails and give you the ideas of what to do going forward. And so here he is. It's probably only 5 years, 6 years later, maybe.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, and night and day.
Yeah. And I think that's something, Todd, that I just want to touch on at the moment from your level, because you do speak internationally and you do have international clients, that this burnout factor that we talk about, and I see it in the Australian industry quite a lot, as much I think Peter would agree with me, we do see quite a lot of mental health and physical health damage that is done by people that reach that burnout factor because they are putting so much time in their businesses. It's not just an Australian thing. It's not just an American thing. This is something that is happening globally because we don't seem to be able to create, for better words, that disconnect with our businesses, or we're scared that if we do disconnect, the bank account runs dry or something else jumps up or someone else will get my client. And I'm assuming, Kerry, that's something as well that Todd has coached you through. So Todd, I'll start with you. Is this an international problem? And Kerry, this is obviously one of the key things that was happening in your business. Take us through the mental effects of what that was doing, not just in your business, but in your personal life.
Yeah, so I guess the question comes to me first. I would say it is by far global. And I would say it has no boundaries. It has no ethnic boundaries. It has no geographic boundaries. It has no differentiation. It is similar no matter where you go, if it's a developed country. And the interesting thing about the brokering community and being in real estate and lending and so on and so forth is, to Kerry's point earlier, most people start this thing as kind of either a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, and they don't really know what's possible, first of all, and they also don't know how to set boundaries. And so they tend to let the business be run by the people that we call clients, right? And because they don't have strategy, they think that they have to be available 24/7, and they have to be, they have to be everything to everyone. And when it gets down to it, we have thousands of people that are in one-year coaching programs, and we have 3 levels. Our top level, there's 33 brokers in it, and last year they made $91 million in income. 33 mortgage professionals, $91 million in income, and they averaged 18 weeks off for the year. That's huge. 18 weeks off. They've built teams, they can go anywhere they want, and they are making millions of dollars a year, but they are scaling. And here's the big deal. If you don't figure out how to create residual income streams, you will only make money when you are giving your lifeblood, which is your labor, to the business. And so the best brokers around the globe start to understand, I'm only really, first of all, good at a couple things, and I'd rather develop those skills to greatness than I would to try to get good at something that either A, doesn't matter, B, doesn't pay anything, and or C, could be done, or all 3 of those, better by somebody else. There's an average of 27 unique activities that brokers get involved in every single day, and there's only 2 that pay them. And so the key idea here is the more time I spend with consumers, okay, and the more value I add to consumers, the less hours I actually have to work because I'm making more revenue per hour. Our top broker that we coach made $6.1 million last year. And the bottom line is that he said to me on the phone, he said, I work 2 days a week, and the rest of the time my team just manages it, and they're happy to do it because they really get compensated well. And I'm happy to let them do it because I have freedom. And he got to this point where 75% of the income he makes is residual. And that's, everybody watching right now has to understand that is your goal, because you don't want to work 40 years, 30 years. You would like to establish financial freedom early and then let other people continue to help build your brand. And ultimately, I sold my mortgage practice at the age of 33, and I believe I made almost $9 million from that sale, and that was in 1992. And I sold it to my team, but I had 14 people on my team, and they wanted to buy the company when I was going to be done, and I started this company. So that's the beauty of this. There's no boundaries to what you can achieve, but until you put boundaries on a poorly run business, it's impossible to achieve a sense of balance in your life, period, end of story. And so the best and most economically favored people globally in mortgage broking do what they do best. They delegate the rest, and for every dollar they spend on somebody, they want to make 5, and it's just straightforward. How much? How much would you pay for freedom?
So Kerry, what was the price that you paid for freedom, so to speak? That Todd's obviously hit that well. I look at where you sort of stand today. What was the price that you paid for that freedom?
I froze for a little bit there.
Yep.
We had Kerry. We may have lost Kerry.
We had Kerry. Come on back, Kerry.
I know, Kerry, we've still got you on audio, so if you want to keep talking on audio, we'll try and get you back on video as well.
Yeah, one sec. Let me just try. Oh, there we are.
There we go. You've got to love doing things live, by the way, guys. This is where the whole wide world gets to see it all in action.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. So look, I think the price that I paid for freedom. All I'm going to say is the price that I paid was like I earned. Can I lightly swear here? I earned a shitload of money. I could do anything that I wanted. I could go anywhere I wanted. I could have anything I wanted. And then I felt like I got to the top of where I could go. And then I don't know, I started drinking. I lost my passion. I stopped going to the gym. I felt that I was still the same person I was to the world, but the whole world could see that I was a different person. And I think until I could accept the fact that I wasn't the same person that I was, and I was wondering why people were not being attracted to me anymore. Actually, one day I'm like, fuck, actually, sorry, I just swore.
It's like, part of the finance industry in places, mate. It's all part.
They're not attracted to me anymore. What is it? And then it was like, well, look at me. I'm overweight. I've got a huge belly. I'm not going to the gym. I'm drinking every night. I'm waking up tired. I can't get up. I'm depressed. Like, what the hell, you know? And you know what? I actually told 5 of my closest friends about my problems. You know, my vices, as Todd called them. I was lucky enough to have the strength. And Jonathan, my coach, talks about the negative voice, which is on my left. I know where it is, and positive voice is on my right. My positive voice had enough strength to be able to get up and tell my friends what was going on. I'm thankful to say those 5 friends are still my friends today, and that's why they're my friends. Yeah, I through Todd, meeting Todd, I learned that there are other things out there that can let you realize that there is more to life, even though you think you've done everything, you think you've got everything. I've learned a whole new world, and it's totally amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get up in the morning now. I don't want to go to I don't want to go to bed at night because there's so much that I want to do. I can't explain the difference. It's been amazing. Yeah.
I can explain it. You were very close to checking out. You had lost your passion to live. You had lost your compass. You had no North Star, and you were ready to call it in.
Yep.
Okay. I've got 7 people right now, and this is what happens, Leo, when you get into really coaching for life excellence. I've got 7 people right now that in the last 3 days have thought about taking their life, and they've reached out to me to have me like help them not go through with it. That's how close this kind of gets. I've got 3 people right now who have been married over 30 years, and they're trying to figure out how to reestablish the joy and the love in their marriage 30 years later. And the business has just interrupted all of that. And then when you look at health, I mean, obesity is a big deal, and you'll die if you don't manage your health, period. You'll die a premature death. You won't be able to make an impact on people's lives. You won't feel good about yourself. You look in the mirror and you'll get depressed instead of feeling like energized and excited. And when you take care of the body takes care of you. And we're on a mission to, you know, experience life and do business well and help clients win financially. What greater joy is there than to be in the brokering business and help people build wealth? You should look in the mirror every single day and feel ecstatic, excited, and blessed. But most don't, and that's because they've lost their North Star. They've lost their compass. And it's never too late to make a decision. And I believe, and Kerry knows this because when he flew over to the States, I talked about this. One change can change everything. One change. And he made a decision to trust me, and that led him to trusting Jonathan. And the 2 of us together as his coaches have reinvented Kerry Kalendra. And he gets 100% of the credit because he trusted what we were talking about. And anybody can have this. You just got to make a decision that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and be purposeful and intentional about what you do. Add a ton of value. People will be attracted to you. You'll even make more money when you're healthy than when you weren't healthy and you don't work as many hours. That's exciting. That's exciting.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
People in the past have asked me, you know, like I talk openly about my coaching, you know, both with Todd's company and Jonathan, and they go, like, how much do you mind sharing how much are you paying per year? And I would say, look, on average, I'm probably paying $30,000 a year in coaching, right? Australian dollars. And they're like, are you crazy? And I'm like, I'd rather spend $30,000 and be alive than not and be dead.
It's a small price to pay.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. That is so powerful.
And I think something that I've just taken away from what you're saying, and I was a bit teared up sitting here knowing that it's pushed people to the brink of wanting to end the life that they have at the moment. And for the people that are at home online as well, that it's something that does really, the mental health side of it really does affect our industry. And there's a lot of brokers out there we've seen through COVID that unfortunately did hit that wall within their businesses because they felt like they had no place to turn. I know, Kerry, it would have been very daunting for you meeting, and Todd, you know that I have you up on an absolute shrine in my life, and I'm somebody who also has a life coach, which unfortunately is not Todd, and I can say that outright, it's not Todd. The lights have just gone out in Pete's office. But it's, I think, one of those things that I sit back and say, Kerry, you took Todd on knowing that he was based in the States. How daunting was that for you, that your coach wasn't going to be onshore here in Australia, but what your contact points and how much did that affect you taking on an international coach versus taking on somebody that was onshore here?
I'll be honest with you. I just signed up. There was no. I'm like, I'm not going to let time zones or someone in person be a barrier. In fact, the coaching that we did with Todd's company, the beautiful Hope, Borman, she took me on as her coach. We have the same birthday, so it's her birthday. I've got to call her today and wish her a happy birthday. There was no, so Hope and I, we did Zoom calls, and they were just instrumental. And when I met Jonathan, I can't even see Jonathan. I do a phone call, but it's powerful. So it's your mindset. If you horses for courses, but for me, I'm not going to let those things become a barrier because I know I've got the right people.
Yeah. So Kerry, you're right, Todd.
No, I just wanted to say I think that this is about as important a comment as is the issue with what we discussed earlier, a global issue. I don't think time zones matter, and I think that even what we brought to Kerry, I've been doing business in Australia since 2000, and even helped a couple of guys start a company that was very successful, still is. And I will tell you that the problem.
You can tell them.
I helped John Simon start Aussie Home Loans.
We'll forgive you for that. Oh, that's a joke. That's a joke for everybody watching. That is a joke.
No, it's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
No, for my side, I'm like, we'll forgive you for that. That's my side. It's a joke.
All right.
But I'm saying that the differences in global, geographical regions. Let's face it. We may have an accent. You may have an accent, but the principles of success do not have geographical boundaries. There's five principles. They're never going to change. Everything can be improved. You can't succeed without failing. Okay, emotional connection unleashes relationships and deepens trust. Okay, those are never going to change, right? And then the fourth one is competence leads to confidence, confidence leads to consistency, and consistency leads to compounding. If you're not good at what you do, no matter what country you live in, you're not going to do it well. And then the final piece, which is what Kerry signed up for, is accountability. And accountability unleashes your potential and greatness if you're open to it. Those laws don't change. So I don't care if we have clients in Italy, we have clients in Turkey, we have clients in Vietnam, we have clients in South Africa. It doesn't matter. As long as you understand the principles of success and you have a coach, whether they're here, there, or anywhere, that follows the principles. What you don't want is a coach that cares more about him or herself than he or she does about the client. And we have a faculty of coaches, and they are put through the ringer before they're hired to be on our faculty, because we're talking about lives right now. We're not talking about your ego. We're not talking about you. We're talking about you are helping people thrive in life on this planet while they're alive. That's your job. We help people fall in love with their life, and it's that simple. And I think that's what is attractive when you have a coach that feels that way about you and is bold enough to call BS. Kerry got told a bunch of times.
I definitely have one of those behind me at the moment. And look, I was the same. And Kerry, I don't know if this is, Todd, don't take offense to what I'm about to say. I don't know if you were in the same boat as me, Kerry. When I started out in this industry a few moons ago, I know that I looked at business coaches and life coaches as something you're investing people are investing money in, but I didn't need that in my business because it was all the rah-rah stuff that we do see some people from the States do. And I'm not going to name certain coaches' names that do tour internationally. Todd, it's not you, you're safe there. But it was so rah-rah, and these people, and there's people on the call that have made some comments via text to me, that taking on a life coach can be daunting, because it is that, Jerry Maguire, I get out of bed every day and clap my hands and say, today's going to be a great day. But how the hell is that going to help my business? Was that a daunting thing for you, Kerry? Like, was it something I take you back to a mid Kerry here, so not the early days of when he started the industry, but the midpoint of industry, that you would have sat back and said, shit, I don't need a life coach. I don't need a business coach because I can do all of this without someone.
Oh, in the early days, absolutely. I was successful. I still am successful, but I just worked my ass off. I've got this mentality of just work your ass off, and as we talked earlier, make sure that it's a good customer experience and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I did. I burnt out, and now, having met Todd and having Todd's company, having Jonathan, and I'll be honest with you, the coach Jonathan, he pushes me like I can't even describe on this call. He calls out my bullshit. He challenges me. He makes me do things that, yes, they felt so uncomfortable, but they're effective and they work. And you've got to be prepared to take those on.
I think my mindset with the particular coach that I've got at the moment is probably the same boat, that I love on a Sunday night that he sends me my work to do for the week via usually YouTube videos that I have to watch and send my takeaways about. And I know that I still get some Sunday nights and I go, I can't be asked doing this because it's a Sunday night. And to me, I kind of go, I'm getting ready just to chill, but I understand why they do it. And I think the important thing for our viewers and our listeners today to take away from this is, as much as we know, something I personally took away, is as much as we think we know ourselves, there's always somebody out there that can give that compliment to where your life's heading, or where I was exactly the same as you, Kerry, stuck in an absolute rut. And I think Peter, if he was here today, he'd be sitting over at his desk pulling faces at me, but laughing as well, that I was that person that just tried to take in so much and do so much that I got in a position that I just had, like you, had an absolute meltdown and discovered that I did need someone on my team. And I think that's where I look at the Todds and the Jonathans, and that is the unofficial team player. They're technically on your payroll, but they are on your side. They are a part of the team that makes you who you are today.
Yeah, and also Todd, that extends to the rest of the team now.
100%.
The rest of the team are invested. They're on board. And that's the best.
Let me say, I want to say something, just, and you guys can tell me when to stop, but I think this whole conversation is about understanding your personal potential and greatness. And if you look around the world at any person that is top of class in their industry, it doesn't matter whether they're in theater, whether they're an actress, whether they're a musician, whether they're a sports star, a CEO, it doesn't matter. Everybody who is choosing greatness understands that they need a coach or coaches to help them get there. I have a speaking coach. Why? Because I need to protect my voice. Okay. I have a speech coach, Deb and I do, and we'll go and we'll spend 3 months and I don't know, $25,000 just to develop a speech that's 45 minutes long. I have a financial coach. I have a health coach. I run a coaching company and I have 4 coaches. So, the bottom line is Harvard says that for every dollar invested in sales coaching, you get $7.94 back. Our average hourly rate income when a broker starts with us is $79 an hour. At the end of 1 year, they've cut their work week by 10 hours and they're making $842 an hour. At the end of 2 years, they're making over $2,000 an hour and they're working an average of 24 hours a week. That's what we do. And, you can figure that out on your own, or you can say I don't have to conform to the world. I don't have to work 70 hours or 60 hours or 50 hours. I can work I could work 1 or 2 hours a day and do nothing but what earns top revenue. Like a surgeon could do three surgeries a day and take 2 days off and take the weekend off. And that surgeon never stops being coached. I just met with one this morning that's a friend of mine. He says, I'm improving my surgery skills every single day because people's lives are at risk, and it's just like, I think everybody just needs to understand it takes an investment of capital in you. You're the best investment that you can ever make in you. You can buy stock, you can hope for an IPO, you can do all that stuff. You can buy real estate, nothing wrong with that. But if you're not investing in you, you're falling behind in relation to your potential. And I think that's what makes this so fun, is we help people see that they're more than they are. And it's fun to watch them do it. Yeah, so that's all I got.
You couldn't have said that better, Todd. You couldn't have said that better. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it really was, Todd. And guys, being mindful of some time at the moment, that we're coming in close to time. We did start a little bit late. I do want to throw some questions that are coming in, and the girls are sending them through. So excuse me while I unlock my phone for this one. This is how modern we are. Joel Franks is currently sitting in our audience. So hi, Joel. How's things going? He wants to know if faith played any part in these personal growth scenarios. So Kerry, I would dare say that that's aimed towards you.
Oh God, hey Joel. That's a really interesting question. When we're talking about faith, if we're talking about God, I put my faith in Todd. I put my faith in Jonathan, and I trusted them. And you have to trust the people that you're taking on to help you. And I'll say that I pass that on to my team now. And I actually say, you need to trust me in this. You just need to trust me, and it'll be good. It's all going to work. Faith is in God. I'm not a religious person, but I'll tell you that I swear that there's someone looking over me that helped me find Todd. And that helped me find Jonathan, I swear.
Yeah.
Oh, look, Kerry, I agree with you there. Without the religious debate in it, I do believe that there is something higher out there that does link people to people. It's the place, the time, everything for me, even business-wise. Everything happens for a reason. And Todd, I know that you'd also back that, and I've been sitting here scribbling some Todd Duncan quotes that I'll be putting up on social media later on today. That I look back on it now, and I wouldn't have met Todd if it wasn't for Peter. And Todd and I were blessed meeting each other 2 years ago, and unfortunately COVID stopped Todd from coming out for our conference. We had a lockdown of flights and whatnot, but I am going to say, guys, watch this space. Because we're not over and done with the Todd Duncan side of things yet. And Kerry, I know that you've got so many impressive things that have happened in your life now, from engaging, Todd's services and looking at the other opportunities that have been out there in the greater world for your business. I think just some closing comments we'll aim for from the two of you. Kerry, from your side of things, I know it's changed a lot now of who the Kerry Kalendra is that we know and that we see in business today. It's changed how you, I want to say, interact with social media, your clients, your peers, and your staff. What would be, if I turned around to you today and said, Kerry Kalendra, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to give this industry the best piece of advice that you can give, where would that be today?
I would say make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. Get rid of the negative people, the deadly people out of your life. Look after your team. Give them the respect that they deserve. Show them that you care. Take some time out to help others within your industry, and go out there and give to others that are less fortunate than you. That's where I'm heading.
So Todd, I'm going to throw the same question over your way before we wrap it up with both of you today. 30 seconds of Todd Duncan's life. What would be that 30 seconds of best advice you could give the Australian finance industry if I said it to you today?
I would say two things. So the first thing that comes to mind is be passionate about your gift. And there's no such thing as work when you're able to take a gift that you have been given by a higher power and use that gift for the betterment of society and humanity. The second thing very close to that is start connecting emotionally with people on a deeper level, because people will say yes to you and become friends with you and become clients with you for life if you befriend them and get deeply involved in emotional connection and stop talking about just the economics of buying and selling real estate. And the last thing I would say to Joel's question is faith is very powerful. And if we look at ancient scripture, faith is defined as the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not yet seen. Trust this, trust business planning, trust value propositions, trust a coach. And Kerry said trust and faith are the same thing. Faith is you're not worried about the future, you're curious in the present, and you are courageous in the moment. And if you do that, you're going to win.
I think that's the best advice that we could possibly get from both of you. And guys, it is a really difficult one because we get an hour for these sessions, but I'd love to have you back on, both of you back on at some stage. And I know that Peter will back that comment as well. And Todd, obviously, whether we have you here in Australia with us, whether we have you over in the States, we would love to have another Q&A session, because I think there's a lot further that we can delve into this side of it as well, that people need to understand that life is about living. And the biggest thing that we could all potentially take away from it when it does come to business is, I think Australia has it right in a lot of senses, is that we do work to live, we don't live to work. It was something that I learned on travel to Hawaii as well. I think Hawaii is one of those places that has that down pat so well, because they stop work for siesta, they stop at 4 o'clock to have family time every day. And I think there's little things from around the world, Todd, that you would have learned, especially that we can embrace in our businesses here, that will make our business environments a better working place, not just for ourselves, but also for the staff and teams that work with us.
Yeah. I would say just focus on gratitude, guys, and be curious, and never ever think that you've got it figured out, because there's always another way to do it and there's another time to do it. And, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody ever said you got to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whether anybody has that in their head or not, I like the idea of working 7 months a year and 24 hours a week. And if you really understand that, you can live the life you want. You can have a beautiful health. You look in the mirror, you can love yourself and not be anything other than grateful for the chance to live another day, and go out of your way to tell people you love them and make sure they know that you care about them. And there's no better way to build a business than letting people know you feel their pain and you care about their future. And we do that, man. We got to figure it out.
And Todd, I'm going to get you to talk to Peter for me about working 7 months of the year. He may tell you that I work less than that already, but you can have that chat with Pete for me, so I could work 7, have 5 off, because I'm quite happy to holiday that 5 months of the year. Yes, Kerry.
Sorry, Leah, can I just say one thing? I want to give Todd a really big plug. My team and one of our great colleagues, Bertrand, we're all heading over to Todd's awesome sales mastery event. It's his 30th anniversary this year. I've been before and I'm so excited. And anybody that's interested, they want to know more, we're heading over to LA for 11 to 14 October. It's a great investment. No one will be disappointed. If you want to know more, you just get in touch with Leah and we'll pass on the details.
Thanks. There's an FBAA discount too.
Look at that. He's trying to clincher. For the people still on the call, Todd Duncan is willing to give you a discount to come over. Todd, I'm going to get you to speak to Peter about that, because I'd love to come over to LA for that as well. I think even as BDMs, and to the BDMs that are on the call, mastering sales is something that we've got to be really good at as well. It's not just relying on our brokers to do it. So it's an all industry inclusive thing. It's not just for the brokers on the call. But Todd, thank you so much for the FBAA discount. I think that, our members will love and appreciate that. All of us do. I'm not going to say love a good working holiday, but let's face it, guys, there's a tax deduction in anything educational you do for your businesses. So, guys, I do want to thank you for your time, Todd, especially with you over in the States being evening, and I'll let you disappear now for some dinner with your lovely wife. And Kerry, thank you. Obviously, Qantas Club in Sydney. Hopefully the hangover from last night's not hitting you too badly. You're looking rather fresh down there in Sydney, so we're not going to mention the awards that you're at. We'll just call them industry awards.
Awards. Let's leave it at that. Yeah. But
no dramas,
I'm
guys.
ready to head to the Gold Coast now for the weekend.
Oh, well, look, I'm giving you great weather up here today. If you can see behind me, it's blue skies, and it's a great day for flying, let me tell you. So to our audience today, guys, I know you're appreciative of Todd and Kerry's time. I do want to thank everybody for joining us on this very special edition of Q&A Not Quite with Whitey. As I said, the man himself is down in Canberra today, hanging out with those that make the rules for us. A couple of external questions were asked that aren't related to today's customer service question, so I just want to hit them really quickly. We did have a question come in to say, how do we advise on interest rate movements to clients, prospective clients, fixed, variable, or both? There was a Q&A session the other month with some brokers that I completed. It was actually with Trent Carter and with Brett Spencer. Now, that episode is available on the FBAA's YouTube channel, so jump on there, play that one back. But the most critical things that we would give you advice on at the moment is, at the end of the day, rates are going to go up. So you do need to prepare your clients for it. And it's all going to come down to the conversation that you have with your clients. Don't go too in-depth with it. At the end of the day, none of us have a crystal ball. And with an ever-changing environment and with global pressures at the moment, with wars and things like that taking place, you've seen it happen recently with fuel and the excise and everything that's happened there. It's an up and down game. Not saying that interest rates at this point are going to come back. There was an announcement this morning from the Federal Treasurer who did say that interest rates are going to continue to rise, but it's not going to be anything dramatic. So it's a matter of how you handle that conversation with your clients. What we're currently doing with Clawback, again, shameless promotion for White, he's actually down there in Canberra having that conversation at the moment. So nothing concrete, I can tell you, will come out of the initial discussions for it. Labor is listening. Let me stress that point. They are listening to what you're asking for out there. It's a matter of how it does get positioned. There will be a further update done on this through the PD days that the FBAA are doing towards the end of, or the tail end of this year. And again, it's why Pete's not on here today. There's some lenders paying less on upfront commissions now. Lou, thank you for sending that through. Pete has sent a direct response through me to you to say, hey, can you send him some actual examples? It's the first he's hearing of it. The new government willing to listen. Is the FBAA championing removal of unfair clawback conditions? Again, there is media and live stream webcast from May on this. The current Albanese government is talking to Peter. It is a very, very hot subject within the industry, and there is a lot more on this coming very, very soon. Lead generation, look, we've got an initiative that's coming out for that. It is going to rise in the second half of this year, so stay tuned on that one as well. We'll go into the SMSF question very, very shortly. We are actually going to have a key speaker on SMSF coming on to Q&A with Whitey. And our clawback's likely to change 6 months to a year. Again, Pete's hoping that will happen. It may not be the 6 month, it may be in that 12-month bracket. You will see a lot more coming out through the FBAA PD days around that particular subject and what is happening on it as well. And you'll see a lot more Pete, hopefully, around the grounds. And if you don't see Pete, you get to see my smiling face or your relevant state manager being Mark Windram or Christine Anderson, who is also now joined the state management team. So, guys, it is a wrap-up on today's session. I do again want to thank the FBAA national sponsors. Without them, we can't do days like today. And obviously, without my brains and my good looks and trust, Pete wouldn't be able to have a day like today because I wouldn't be here hosting the call. I may not also have a job come Monday, but performance reviews are now done, and I feel pretty good because I got through one this year. So thank you for all of your support out there, guys. As I said, Todd, Kerry, it has been absolutely fantastic having you on board with us today. For those of you that were able to join us during your lunch hour for work, thank you very much. Any questions, please shoot them up to me on email. Very simple, leah@fbaa.com.au, and I'll have the relevant team get in touch with you. But from this side of the world to that side of the world, it's bye for now.
See ya.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.